You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Rizzoli Isles After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Rizzoli Isles After Show.
Hello, everyone. Bing is for doing, and we're here doing another Rizzoli Isles after show for AFTERBUZZ TV. I am Tiona Hobson, and joining me tonight, I have the lovely and awesome
Jenifer Golden.
Crystal Lee sadly couldn't be here with us tonight, but we told her that we would hold down the fort in her absence. So hopefully we don't disappoint her.
Yep.
This is season 4, episode 10, Judge, Jury, and Executioner. So speaking of the judge, the jury, and the executioner, the case this week was a little complicated because there was a lot of facts.
A lot of facts.
And a lot of runarounds.
And history.
And history, and mock trial members high school students using bigger words than I've ever heard before, arguing their case. It was a little all over the place.
It was. I actually really liked this episode because I felt like it was more in line with what I expect from the show, which is like, it's darker, but it's factual and it's less fluff than some of the episodes have been.
Yeah.
I obviously wasn't here for last week's episode, so I wasn't with you to talk about that. But the ones before that were a little bit fluffy, I would say.
Yeah, they were.
This one seemed more serious in tone and like a legitimate case.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one. I thought there was maybe a little too much fact and runaround for the hour span that we had for the show or for the episode. So
we were definitely confused. We're like, how does this wrap up?
And we're like, it's 52 minutes in. Are we going to solve this case or not? I don't know. So Judge Harper is clearly a judge, and she's the advisor for a mock trial team that her daughter also happens to be on, Ashley. And she, in the middle of Ashley's opening statement, she kind of stumbles into the courtroom and collapses and dies. The first person we see after her collapse, because he gives her CPR, is her college pal, Roger. I didn't get his last name. He's also the mock trial advisor for the opposing team. So as we get into the case, we know that she's a good person, that she tries to send her not her victims. She's the judge. She doesn't have victims. She tries to send her guilty people? Criminals. That's the word. Criminals. She sends her criminals to rehabilitation. Wow.
There's a big word.
There's a big word, and clearly I can't talk tonight. Rehabilitation places, because she believes in second chances.
Right.
So most of her criminals who are first-time offenders go to this Starbridge place, which we find out is kind of shady.
But the premise of this place is that it's got classrooms where you can get your GED. It's, a bunch of first-time criminals, so that it's not really like thugs and people that have a history or like real gangster type people.
When you
wouldn't be in harm really, because it would be almost like, like petty theft, or it wouldn't be like a first time murderer.
Yeah,
is how they sell it.
Yeah, the website even it looks like maybe a boarding school. You know, it's very nice, clean classrooms.
Right.
All these state-of-the-art facilities. So clearly it's a private place, and it supposedly has a lot of money for its victims. But as we're going through the case, we find out that they're going through all her other cases, trying to figure out a connection, because they find an injection near her skull where clearly she was injected with something with a needle, and find scratches on her hands that match it. They find her purse and all her belongings in the stairwell. And so you can tell that she had been running up the stairs when she was attacked. And they kind of tried to throw us with this whole Dr. Simmons thing. That was the
right. See, there was a lot going on. Like, I guess that first part was the case that she wanted to. She was, what was it?
Oh, they wanted her off the case because they know that she was like a hard judge for people in the profession who abuse their power.
Right. Okay. So they wanted her off that, but that was like so unrelated, and they threw it that way because she was injected with a syringe, and like who would have that? A doctor, of course. They sent us off on many different paths. That her law associate also.
Yeah, her clerk or her assistant in her office.
I think they said it was like her partner, but it was like a younger partner, someone she worked with anyway, who idolized her and said that she paved the way for women to advance in law. They tried to like peg it on her because she was there at the same time, and she left at 5:30, and Judge Harper was killed at 5:30. Obviously that wasn't it. And then they thought it was the father of the son that went to Starbridge. We find out the son died at Starbridge.
And the father thought that she wasn't doing anything or doing enough to try and figure out how he actually died and to get him out of there, which is sad because, you know, she thought she was doing a good thing by sending people to Starbridge because, you know, everyone's supposed to have a second chance, but they were actually slapping on ridiculous extensions to people's sentences for things that they weren't actually guilty of. Like the kid got slapped on. They said that he attacked someone.
Right, and for
so he got
another
an extra 4
years.
years for that when he was only supposed to be there for, gosh, it wasn't even that long at first. I think it was 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it was some
sentence.
short amount of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they said it was a kidney issue, and his father said he doesn't even have a kidney issue. So that got them thinking first that they thought he had a motive to kill Judge Harper, because he wanted to avenge his son's death. And he even said, he's like, if you need to lock me up, fine, as long as you look into my son's death. If you need somebody to peg this on, fine.
Which is crazy because he is willing to go to take the rap for killing her. He was like, you can charge me with her murder. I'll confess to it. Just look into my son's death.
Right.
Which I mean, you'd be in jail. So even if they found out that, you know, it was bad on the Starbridge's part.
Well, I feel like they would then start looking into that, which, I mean, the killer, obviously, who we know who that is, I still don't understand how the guy didn't think, like, the people that do their jobs would find out what happened.
Yeah.
That she didn't just come into the courtroom and collapse and need CPR, that they would do an autopsy, obviously.
Well, that's the reason why he used the Ritalin, because her associate had said that, you know, sometimes she would get dizzy, she would forget things at times, and she often had slurred words. So, you know, they were thinking maybe she was drinking.
Right.
Find out that she was actually using Ritalin, and the reason she was using Ritalin was because she had narcolepsy.
Right, and so she wanted to stay awake and not, you know, have not be known as somebody that had narcolepsy, because they disbarred a former judge.
Yeah, she had to step down because they made a big thing about her being bipolar, even though she was taking her medication and had everything
And that she was not
under
fit
control.
to, you know, judge trials and things because of her health. But, I mean...
Yeah, but, I mean, I think that's why he thought he could get away with it, because the injection was so small.
Right.
Which, I mean, he's a lawyer. I mean, I guess he does more corporate stuff since he's the lawyer for Starbridge, so maybe he wasn't thinking. But, I mean, on the autopsy that they would find it. But it was so small, and then you think, oh, well, she already takes Ritalin as it is, so we're not going to really think, you know, maybe she just took too much that day. And
I mean, did he know that no one knew she took it except for him?
I'm pretty sure that he knew that, because they were friends who wrote law articles together and went to law school together. He was clearly someone she trusted.
Right.
So, you know, he would know that without her judgment or him judging her and spreading the word. But
Yeah.
But they have it on camera, which is another place where he went wrong.
Right,
He was
which
at
we
the coffee
said.
shop on camera getting into an argument with her, seen taking her permission slips out of her folder so that she would have to leave the courtroom while they were doing their opening statements. And it's just, I mean, if you're a lawyer, be a little smarter with your crime.
I mean, people do crazy things and they think they're smarter than it's like an egotistical thing. It's arrogance, and that's when you make mistakes. I mean, not that I'm suggesting that you like double check your work when you're being a shade ball, but
you should.
It just goes to show you that that's why the truth comes out. That you can't outsmart the people whose job is to figure this stuff out.
Yeah.
Somebody somewhere will find out.
And especially because they then called him out on it in court when they're trying to arrest him. And he's like, oh, well, you don't have this and this. And do you have.
Right. He's
proof
like,
of
oh,
that?
where's the weapon?
Yeah. He's like, oh,
well,
did you find that in my house when you were ransacking the place? I'm like, oh, yeah, because now you just pretty much said you threw it out.
Right. But you can't find it. Right.
You're like, oh, well, you actually carried it out in your pocket. And
so they must have checked every single suit. Obviously, I mean, I guess that's what they do. They check everywhere when they go and have a warrant.
And why do you still have the suit?
Well, because he probably figured no one would come after him if I don't know what, but
if he was the one giving her CPR and
and the reason he killed her was because she had put it together that Starbridge was an unfit place to send people. She was telling him that she was going to file for him to be disbarred because of his connection in representing Starbridge and pushing her to put people there instead of any other prison, and that she was looking into why these people were getting filed extensions for no real reason.
Yeah.
I would guess that conversation was probably like, listen, I'm going to file this unless you figure this out for me. Like, she probably threatened him.
Yeah.
And then she ripped it up. So he probably agreed to help her and figure it out.
Or probably was saying he had nothing to do with it and didn't know about it.
But why rip it? I mean, I guess that's just to make a point. Like, no, I'm not going to file it.
Yeah, if he was telling her, like, I had nothing to do with this, like, I'll get to the bottom of it, this isn't me, then she would rip it up, be like, oh, okay, he wasn't a part of the craziness happening.
I mean, unfortunately, when you find out somebody is doing something, I think that the best thing to do would be to tell the authorities and not tell them directly, because then they will take matters into their own hands. They're not going to just be like, oh, no, this one person knows and they're not going to do anything about it, or they'll keep it a secret. No, of course.
Yeah. That's where she trusted her friend. Sadly, he wasn't much of a friend in the long run.
Which he should have known that his morals and his ethics were pretty skewed if his one client is representing Starbridge, which I wonder why he was at the courthouse that day.
He was the mock trial advisor.
No. When they went to arrest him.
Oh, they were starting another mock trial because he was handing in the permission slips and said, hey,
okay.
And we're about to start
I didn't even notice
the next
kids.
mock trial.
Oh.
The kids weren't in there yet.
Oh, I was just more excited about them catching him that I was like,
Like, yes, and it's in a courthouse.
Right, I was
you
like,
don't
what
have to
is
take
he
him very
doing
far.
there again for Starbridge or something?
Throw him in jail right here.
Basically.
He messed up.
He did mess up. I'm disappointed in his tactics. I almost wonder if they're ever gonna have an episode where like somebody like outsmarts them. Like, we watch the show because obviously we want to see them sort of like figure this stuff out and win exactly. And I mean, we don't want to see like a crime go unsolved. That would be sort of like weird. But it would be interesting though if there was always like, if there was one crime that went unsolved that they worked on for like multiple episodes versus just one that like always got
has to be wrapped up super quick.
Right, with a little bow. And it's like, okay, we've solved it.
Because that's where I have a little bit of an issue with how it's going down recently, is because we spend so much time trying to trick us into thinking it's all these other people. I mean, the Dr. Simmons guy, I think they showed him on a security footage. Like, you brought him up, made him this huge thing, but then we never really saw him or talked to him. And there's all these things that you're intricately weaving, and then the ending is just all like them talking about everything that happened instead of us getting to see.
Right, like in the last 10 minutes, they walked back in from Starbridge into their office, and they were who asked? Frost was like, "So what happened? How'd you get away from the warden? Did you find out anything?" And they were like, no. That was it. And then they didn't come back with like, and we solved the case.
Yeah, it was Frost who got the information off the internet,
right?
His database, and put together that
they had a meeting, a coffee meeting, and they watched the video and they put it together while watching the video. But it was like so much build up to get to that one coffee video where like they sort of could have started a little bit further back, spent more time on that video, talked more to that dude, Roger. I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to see more of that part and the figuring it out versus crossing everything else off the list.
Yeah, because every person who they brought up, I was like, okay, it's not that person. It's not that person. Like your theory goes, it's always the first person that we see. He was the first person we saw tonight, and
we figured this one out quickly.
We figured it out pretty quick.
But we didn't understand why or how.
We didn't get the motive. I was like, he took her daughter home. Like, why is he knew her? And then that's when I put it together. Oh, he knew her.
And then you think back, you're like, what's the motive? Like, why would the mock trial guy want to kill her? And then it is this whole like wound up story about Starbridge and that she was going to get him disbarred, and it's always that somebody's going to get in trouble, so they kill the person that knows the most about it and whatever. But I would like to see more of the figuring it out at the end. I do love how they get to that point, because you wonder, and that's why they have that show that comes on after Rizzoli Isles now,
like Cold Justice.
How people figure out a crime. I mean, my brain doesn't always work that way where I'm like, oh, and this and this and this. I mean, listen, I'm a female, so my brain kind of works that way. We're a little bit of detectives in ourselves, but I just don't know that I need to see 52 minutes of that and then 6 minutes of commercials and figuring it out.
Yeah.
Or like wrapping it up, I guess.
Yeah. I said it last week. I wish that there was like a to be continued.
Right.
Just so that you could, okay, they didn't get to the end of it, but here's a little bit of like a cliffhanger to lead you to the next one. And I know that that's what season finales are for, but who wants to wait for the season finale and then wait months for an answer? I just want it to be in the middle of the season.
Right.
You can
like
get a nice, good, thorough case where we see it all the nitty gritty just happen.
Yeah. I mean, this episode though definitely like brought things in from other episodes, which I liked. Like the mom stuff with her IRS drums.
Yeah.
I liked that storyline had like, and we talked about that actually like a couple weeks ago. We were like, so wait, where'd her IRS problems go? Like they made a big deal over it, and she was like all upset and talking to Corsac about it, and then it went poof, gone.
Yeah,
they didn't even mention it.
And I completely forgot that she only told Corsac because it was so long ago. I was like, wait, Jane's asking her mom why she's, oh, I'm so proud of you for saving for your retirement when she was selling the brownies. I was like, wait, doesn't she know that it's because of the IRS?
Right.
I completely forgot. They brought Tommy back, who we hadn't seen.
Right, and he was still talking about Lydia, which answers some of those questions.
They are.
Because we were concerned that we didn't know
where she was.
Right, they went for a walk and never came back, and like, whatever happened.
And then he shows up lawyered up before he even mentioned Lydia. So I was like, oh God, what happened? What did Tommy do now?
Right,
was my thing.
I thought they were like fighting over custody or something, and like that Lydia must have left. But then they reminded us it was because there was a lawsuit against the
parking garage collapse with him and Frost in it. And Frost has this lawyer who says, it's going to take a while to get it figured out. And so Tommy, being the guy that he is, finds, what was his name? Mark the Shark.
Mock the Shack.
Mock the Shack.
That was my best Bostonian accent. Sorry, Mom. Mock the Shack.
Who is one of those, what do they call him? The ambulance chasing lawyers. Basically. He has his commercials that come on, and he just seems like a not very trustworthy guy.
No, he's like a slime ball. He probably went to like law school online, and got a bootleg degree. Like that's what he seems like.
Yeah, that's what he seems like. So of course Tommy is gonna trust him,
right?
Just because Tommy's judgment isn't always the best, but Tommy's using him because he needs the money now because he wants to show Lydia that he can support her and little TJ.
Right. It's like they always say, don't sell too early. Wait.
Yes. But I mean, in the long run, Mark the Shock, how do you say it? Mock the Shock?
Mock the Shock.
Mock the Shock.
I don't know. Ours
we need Chrysalie here.
Yeah.
She can do it. He ends up coming out big, and he settles the case for Tommy before.
Well, no, the case itself settled.
Yeah.
So all the parties got paid out. But Mock the Shock, I don't think had anything to do with it, really.
I want to believe that he did it, so now, Frost is even benefiting from the fact that, Tommy went and got this guy. I don't know. He got like 6 figures or something.
Yeah, I mean, usually when there's a settlement, everyone settles.
Yeah.
So what does Frost get?
I don't know. They didn't really talk about what he would be getting.
I mean, does Frost get money and he like retires? But I mean, obviously that's like, that would be an interesting storyline if they change that. But anyway,
we'll have to see.
We'll see.
But he and him getting the money, we know that Mama Rizzoli, her bill has mysteriously been wiped clean from the IRS.
Yeah, her $27,000
$27,000
back tax.
And she thinks Corsac did it. She thinks Corsac may have told someone. I thought Jane did it.
So did I.
But then I was like, how's Jane affording to do this?
Well, I think Jane makes good money. She's been a detective for a while.
Yeah.
She also lives in a 1-bedroom apartment. She could have borrowed money from Maura, to be completely honest.
Yeah, Maura seems the more.
They could have all pooled money together secretly.
I thought it was them since, they were opening up her mail and everything.
I did too. I never thought it was Tommy.
Yeah, I never thought it was Tommy either.
I mean, and usually, do you get paid that quickly too when there's a settlement? I don't know.
No, I don't.
Somebody tell us.
Yeah.
Tell us the answers to these questions.
Have you ever settled a lawsuit?
I've settled in other ways, but
not in your life choices.
No, not in a lawsuit.
Not in a lawsuit. All right. Well, we'll have to have someone let us know. And speaking of letting you guys know, if I know you've heard us talk about it before, download Serial Buddies. Go to serialbuddies.com. Hilarious movie. Dexter meets Dumb and Dumber. Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro produced this amazing film, and it helps us keep the lights on here and keep giving you this great content when you download it. So go to serialbuddies.com and make sure you snag that. And while you're on the internet, make sure you go onto iTunes and rate and comment our iTunes podcast. Give us 5 stars because we are 5-star worthy. And also leave us comments. We love reading what you guys have to say every week on iTunes and YouTube. So make sure you keep doing it.
Yeah.
Doing it. And then I think Chrysalie, I just looked at you and called you Chrysalie.
I am also hurt tonight. I'm both people.
All right. I think Jen has some news and gossip for us.
I do.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So just now we had sort of touched on the fact that, Frost's storyline is going to
have to change.
It's going to have to be changed. I know they shot the rest of the season, right? So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but they were renewed for a 5th season, and something will need to happen with his character, I'm sure, to explain why he's not back. And today they actually they put out his official death certificate. TMZ reports that it said that it was definitely a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. They broke the story on August 19 that his body was discovered at his North Hollywood apartment when he failed to show up to set. So, according to the death certificate, that is the answer. And that friends are still trying to figure out, why he would do that, but they said that he did suffer from depression issues.
Yeah, that's so sad.
So sad. There's so many solutions out there, and even being someone that has access to the best healthcare and things like that, and it's just sad that it gets that dark.
Yeah, and it goes to show that just because you're a celebrity and in the limelight, it doesn't always mean that you're not unhappy,
right,
or that there's not anything more and deeper going on in your life. We see the glamour and the lights and the
right,
the cameras. We see all the fun stuff, and then you don't actually know what anyone's really going through. So
right,
it's really sad to hear about all the deaths that happen in Hollywood. This isn't the first suicide, sadly, and it seems to be happening more and more often now too.
Yeah, it's just so crazy because we look at people and let's say people like us who are in this business, and we would love to be on a show like Rizzoli Isles, or whatever, and we think that that person has it all. Yeah. Because of that one thing, but we don't know what their history was. We don't know how they were raised, how they grew up, what their medical issues are, any of that. All we see is they have a really awesome job and a really great career that I would love to have. But then you forget that they're a human being first. And it's also a drama. You don't know what people have gone through to channel those things. I'm just getting very into this right now.
No, as you should.
It blows me away. So, I'm interested to know more about his story because it's very shocking.
It's still very shocking.
Right. I was hoping that they would have a note or something to add to this because we want to know. It doesn't make it any less awful, but you do want to know.
Exactly, because we consider these characters kind of like our friends and our family.
You almost
sit
think
down
you
every
know
week
them
with them. You
when
think
you
you know
don't,
them, but
right,
it's the characters that they play that we know.
Right. In other lighter news,
okay,
the lesbians are boycotting.
Oh no!
Boycotting, says the National Enquirer. The lesbian fans of Rizzoli Isles are threatening to boycott the show unless Rizzoli Isles lock lips.
What?
Yep. Even though they're not gay, they still want them to at some point.
The fan fiction isn't enough.
I don't know. And Angie, responds and she says that it doesn't make sense. Like what? That what you're not going to watch our show because we won't make out. And she's still upset that they think she's the butch one. So
that's not funny, but it's funny that you said this because I was just thinking today how every time they bring in a guy for one of these girls, he disappears because the storylines are always like, oh, here's a new person, and they disappear for 5 weeks, and then they come back in. Well, last week we met BT, and it was like, hey, yeah, Maura might actually get a shot with some guy, and I guess he was actually supposed to be a recurring role, and then he got cast on the Lifetime series, The Witches of East End, and so he had to be like, actually, I can't recur, and so they're trying to work out a new plot point for him, but he does say that he'll be back next season.
So interesting that like how many people have to rally around career choices. Like, don't they sign a contract at some point? I guess there's lawyers that get them out for like bigger parts.
Well, because he was recurring here, and I think he's a lead there, so it's like that's
why
title.
These kinds of actors
happen.
They have legal representation to get them in and out of contracts. But it's interesting. Then the writers have to rewrite things, and like there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, he said they had to completely change like the last couple episodes within their storyline because he was supposed to be there for the last 2 episodes and the finale of the season, which is next week. The finale.
Cray. In other news, more about Angie. Apparently, she loves therapy. I don't know why this came out when it did. I don't know if this is like a response to issues, maybe with Lee Thompson Young about the fact that he had depression issues. And, it was sort of like a story about several different things. But she reveals that she is a big supporter of therapy to those who need it. And she can see the benefits that it can bring.
And it can bring a lot of benefits.
This was on fanshare.com. So if you want to check out that story. And then also, Rizzoli Isles TNT Twitter account tweeted 2 interesting things. There's a contest. One is you submit a car-themed fan art, and you could be featured on a digital poster at the end of the season.
Oh.
Yeah, so find that tweet and then, submit. It's like, what is it? Rizzoli Isles TNT.tumblr.com/submit.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Hope you wrote that down.
Yeah. Or just go to their Twitter account. And then the last thing is that they announced the premiere of Cold Justice tonight. So that was really interesting to hear that they did a real life unscripted version of Rizzoli Isles, basically, of 2 women that solve cold cases.
Yeah, that's really cool. I can't wait to go home and watch that.
And you know what? To be honest, I really do want to watch it because I'm so fascinated by like how people do figure these things out. But I'm terrified of the episodes of Rizzoli Isles that are like legit scary episodes. So I don't really want to watch the true stories because that kind of freaks me out more.
Yeah.
And that is all for news and gossip this week.
And I have a fun fact.
Oh, do tell.
Yeah, I didn't realize this. I don't know. Everyone else probably put this together already. But Jordan Bridges, who plays Frankie, is Beau Bridges' son.
Stop it right now.
I am not. Mind blown.
Totes.
It's Beau Bridges' son.
Fascinating.
I know. That was...
The more you know.
The more you know. See?
Meanwhile, I think he's so cute.
He is. He's a cutie, but he's a father and a son and a husband. That's the word I was looking for.
So he's a lot of roles.
Things. Yeah, he's a lot of roles already.
Good for him, though.
Yeah,
I like that.
good for him. Let's talk about our predictions.
Okay.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, so next week we have the summer finale episode. Looked like a lot was happening.
But like so much.
But like,
I don't know what to even predict because it was like unrelated. They said there was a double murder.
And maybe they're related.
Right.
Or they're connected.
I feel like this happens every season.
Yeah, I feel like Casey's coming back.
Right.
I think he's proposing to Jane, and that's the decision she has to make. But that's kind of what the preview wants you to think.
Right. And
so maybe it's not. Maybe he actually wants her to go back to Afghanistan with him. Because he's not really a soldier there. Maybe he's going to set up and do something.
Right.
Or maybe he's getting sent somewhere else and he wants her to come with her.
I don't know. They let us to believe that the decision was between one thing or him going back to Afghanistan. So it's like, are they going to get married, or is he going to go? If she doesn't marry him, does she go there? But is that really the decision? Like, she loves him. Like, what's that going to do? I don't think she would say no to that. It's got to be something even crazier.
Yeah. So I don't know what it's going to be.
Right. I don't know either. I don't have a prediction for that.
I don't have a prediction.
Surprisingly.
Either. Let's just wait and see.
Okay, can't wait.
Can't wait. Where can everyone find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jen the Jew.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Tiona Hobson. Let us know what you guys think about the finale, your predictions and everything, guys. And we will see you next week.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.